Okay, I've written myself a note. Hi, I'm Iain, he's Olly.
Hi.
We're both guys and we're chatting about brilliant music selections in films. It's the Guys on Film podcast.
Wiki Wiki Wild Wild West.
Brilliant. Starting with one of my worst selections.
Oh, well, that's a spoiler for the upcoming podcast. So what have we got on this podcast? Have you any idea?
It's in the title.
Hold on, can I just go and check the title a minute? Ah, that's amazing. Okay, it's good that we put it there because it means it's quite obvious. It's upfront and personal.
Yeah, so we're going to do a music-related quiz where you're going to hit me with some intro lines that I'll have to guess from the films in Seggy 1.
Yeah.
And I'll have to identify the song and film. And then in LifeScores, you're going to tell us why you're so low energy.
I'm not low energy. I'm not low energy.
Come on, Ollie, pick it up.
Yeah.
And then the 4X deep dive, we're going to get into some facts about the biggest songs from films, my best 5, my worst 4, your top ones, all that sort of stuff, and maybe what we think makes a good song work and what makes bad songs not work.
Okay. Yeah.
And just to clarify, if the episode title wasn't clear enough, this is songs as opposed to the original motion picture soundtrack. So it's not the orchestral score.
Yes.
It's songs that are picked for the films.
Okay, yeah. That's true.
Immediately strokes lines through all of his research.
I mean, we probably should have communicated this earlier, but should we just start anyway? And tell you what, shall I set a timer?
Guys on Film. Yeah, we're guys. We'll talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real. You know we're guys. Talk about film. It's the Guys on Film podcast for real.
Iain, Seggy 1, how are you with your music trivia?
I don't know. Time's going to tell, isn't it?
It is. So let me just give you the gist of this quiz. So basically, I'm going to hit you with some opening lines of some lyrics. For example, I might say, "Wiki, wild, wild, wiki, wiki, wild, wiki, wild, wiki, wiki, wild, 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 west," and what would that be?
That would be Will Smith with the title track from Men in Black, Men in Black.
Right, well, it's not going to be that easy. I mean, and you can't have that, okay?
Okay.
So you can't have that. But that was just an example of a question. So are you willing and prepared for this quiz?
Agreed. And
Then
I hope everyone at home is too.
Then let's continue. In fact, I'm going to bring back the bit where I asked people how they did at home and that call and response sort of thing for this quiz. So just, keep that in mind that I'm going to start doing that.
Ollie, I know it's nearly been 2 months since we recorded a podcast, but you don't have to narrate what you're thinking as you go along.
Well, I mean, I think this is the only way I'm going to get through it. Anyway, question 1. I think you're going to enjoy this. And I'm also just going to try and read it as flat as I can. There will be no rhythm, no musicality, and no semblance of tune at all. I think that's going to be the only way it's going to work.
I didn't expect any of that from you anyway, so shall we roll?
So, question 1. Look, if you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip?
Okay, so that's what I'm getting?
Yeah, that's all you're getting. That's the opening lines of the song.
It's Eminem.
Correct.
With the title track from... Oh, maybe it's not title track, actually. It's
no, this is a potential.
It's from the movie 8 Mile.
Correct. So that's two for three. Can you guess the song title?
It's got brackets 8 Mile in it.
You're not. I mean, I'm gonna need the full title, Ian.
I don't have it, I'm afraid.
Okay.
Knees weak, arms spaghetti.
It's. I mean, that is the one, but there's not the name of the song. It's actually called "Lose Yourself," and I've actually written "Any Men" rather than Eminem, so I'm not sure if I can give you that either.
Any men.
Any Men. How do you feel about that one?
Good. I mean, if it's guide us to how difficult this is going to be, I feel pretty good because even though I didn't get the point, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
And how did you do at home? Oh, better than Ian. Fantastic.
That's a shame. We're in the same boat, though.
Okay. Second one.
What a lovely boat it is.
Ho. And I'm replacing the title of the film with the words title of the film because it says it quite a lot. So ho. Here come the title of the film. It's the title of the films. Here come the title of the films. Here come the title of the film. Title of the film. They won't let you remember.
Okay. So this would be Will Smith with
Correct.
Wild Wild West, the theme
Think
track
about
to
it. Think
Wild
about it.
Oh, no, sorry. Okay, so this would be Here Come the Men in Black, brackets Men in Black or something like that, from the movie Men in Black.
Correct. That's a full sweep on that one. So you're now up to 5 points of a total of 6. How'd you do at home? Well
sorry.
done. Full cards, full house. Well done.
This is a good point scoring system, actually. I like it.
Okay, well I'm going to try and keep it up. I mean, we've never kept scores so diligently as I am now. So let's just see how we go. So
it'll be your maths that fails us if anything does.
True. Yeah. Okay. So next one.
I'm ready.
Could stay awake just to hear you breathing. Watch you smile while you're sleeping. I mean, I'm trying to take all the original melody out, if possible.
Yeah.
I mean, there might still be some left in there, but I'm hoping that it's all gone. So, how are you feeling about this one?
Okay. I wish you did it more monotone because you're actually changing the emphasis, and I just wanted.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Something
I'm trying to mess you up as much as possible
by watching me while I breathe. It's Aerosmith from the movie Armageddon, and the song is "Don't Want to Miss a Thing."
Well, I'm getting my calculator out, and you've now got Now you have 8 points out of a possible 9. How are you doing at home? Wow, that is incredible. Score of 8 out of a potential 9. So,
okay, brilliant.
Next one. Tale as old as time. True as it can be. Barely even friends. Then somebody bends. Unexpectedly.
The difficulty is taking a steep uphill curve.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it has taken a steep. Like, this has gone from easy to
stupid,
hard. But I mean, you know, it's a big song. You know.
Okay. If it's a big song,
I mean, it's a big big song.
I've got a guess already.
Okay.
So I think I'm going to go with a complete guess of Bryan Adams, the theme song from Robin Hood, and it's
I don't want to miss a thing too.
It's basically the same, isn't it? I've got that running through my head, and it's obviously not that. Oh God, how does the theme song?
It's right, Ian. You're wrong. You're dead wrong. It's Beauty and the Beast from the film Beauty and the Beast.
Now, is that a song that was
Angela
made separately from the film? Okay, fine.
I mean, it won a Grammy.
I know, but I mean, it was
and an Oscar.
Written for the film. Anyway, okay, I didn't get that one. Fair enough.
Okay, you didn't get it. Okay, here we go. And this is, I think this is still, taking a real uphill difficulty curve now.
Okay, can I just say that it was Everything I Do It For You was the track from Robin Hood.
And it's still wrong, and you're still on 8, but now it's out of a possible 12. So how'd you do at home? Oh, fantastic. That's great. Let's move on to the next one. Next question. Dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling, can you picture this?
God damn it. Can you picture this? It's a very awkward lyric.
It is, and I feel quite uncomfortable reading it to you, but ultimately, it's just lyrics, Ian.
Could you read it to me one more time, please?
Dig, if you will, the picture of you and I engaged in a kiss. The sweat of your body covers me. Can you, my darling, can you picture this?
No, I'm lost on that one, I'm afraid.
Okay, so that's When Doves Cry by Prince for the movie Purple Rain.
Damn it.
So
it's a big seller as well.
It was a big seller.
Have you?
I've got a shed, but not a cellar.
Can you actually remember the film Purple Rain?
I remember the poster.
Okay, but that's not what I asked.
Poster. Next one. On the half shell, they're the heroes for. In this day and age, who could ask for more? The crime wave is high, with muggings, mysterious. All police and detectives are furious.
Okay, so this makes me question the rules a little bit. Because who did you have down as the artist of the Beauty and the Beast song?
Well, I mean, I would have given you either.
Right, so you didn't have 3 points on that one because you didn't.
No, well, I would have given you Angela Lansbury or Ariana Grande.
Right.
I would have given you either.
Enough.
I would have given
on
you
this
either,
one.
Ian.
On this one, the only fact that I've got is it's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles the movie.
Correct.
And I don't know. I mean, maybe I'll go with Heroes in a Half Shell as the name, but God knows.
You were so close. The song is called Turtle Power.
Damn it.
By the artist Partners in Crime. I mean, there's some great lyrics in it. Okay, you're going to get this one, I feel it. Two worlds collide. Rival nations. Yep. It's a primitive clash, venting years of frustrations.
They're good lyrics.
Oh, they're good, yeah.
So it's Rocky 4.
Bing. Correct.
And the song, I think, is called... it's not Rival Nations, it's Burning Heart.
Bing. Correct. That's...
In the Burning Heart. Yeah, it's Survivor again. They came back after Rocky 3.
Bing. That's correct. So you, out of a total of 21, you have now scored 13. And your final one, the lyrics are body count, body count, body count, body count, yeah, motherfucker, body count, 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 body counts in the house.
Okay. So that is Body Count by the artist Body Count for the movie Body Count. Do you want me to? Do you want me to mention that Ice-T is a part of Body Count?
You only got one right there.
Oh, did I? Okay, so the band's Body Count. What was the film? It's the one where they chase a guy in the forest.
No. Incorrect.
Okay, I'm all wrong then.
Okay, so the song is called Body Counts in the House. The artist is Body Count.
Okay.
And the film is Universal Soldier.
What? Oh, I was mixing it up with that one where, like...
Surviving the game.
Surviving the game, damn it.
Okay, Ian, so out of a possible 20... 4 points.
20.
You've scored
4.
14. Well done. How did you do at home? Oh, very good. That's all of them you got correct. Well done.
I got more than half. That's all right.
Yeah. So, how do you feel about
I feel like it ended on a low there because I went in so
that? So confident, so
hard and fast on body count that I should have thought of it longer.
Yeah. You should have just give it a little pause, but you didn't. But I mean, I used to basically first time I saw Universal Soldier and that song came on at the end. It was so ridiculous. Never heard anything like it.
You
And I
wet
like it to
yourself.
this day. I listened to it today, in fact, and I bloody enjoyed it.
Okay, shall we get on to life scores?
I have no objections, Your Honour.
Proceed.
Proceed, yeah, proceed.
Live score. How are you? Live score.
I'm fine, thank you.
Live score. Out of 10. Live score.
Probably like a 4. So, Ian, how are you?
I'm great. I'm really hankering to find out how your life is. But as you've asked me, I'll go first.
Okay.
So I think the last time we did a life score, I think I went in pretty high. It was an 8 or a 9.
Okay.
And it's been quite a while. We recorded that one really early in January.
Yeah.
And then the January episode
Smashed
came out,
it.
and then it's been quite a long time into February before. It's literally the last day of February we're recording this. It's going to come out in March. But it's a short month, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We'll get another one out in March. So it's all I'm saying is it's been a long time since those lofty highs for me. But I think I'm still feeling pretty good.
Okay.
There's been a little bit of global warming February. Don't know how you feel
Yeah.
about that. It was nice and warm for a while there. It's 20 degrees, and then it just bucketed rain for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not wearing my coat as much.
Yeah. You're wearing a coat and shorts.
Yeah.
Wool coat and Bermuda shorts.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just one of your sort of iconic looks.
Yeah. Some would say iconic.
So we did some filming since the last time we podcasted.
Yeah. And
for
I've
a
done
little
some
thing that
critiquing.
Hopefully we're going to put that out pretty soon. I'd like to move fast on it, but you'd
Yeah.
like to move slow on it. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was good when we did it. It was a good little bit of filming that we did. And then
Yeah,
I'm
you shoved me
anticipating...
really hard. Do you want to go into that? Should we delve into that just a minute?
Very quickly,
The hard shove.
Oliver was dressed as a goth, which is not
Yeah.
a big stretch for him. He just took a dive into his own wardrobe. He was wearing a wig, a long, very smooth black hair wig.
Yeah, like the ring.
And so he comes walking around a corner, and as part of this scene, I'm a local yob type person, and we're supposed to bully him. And the other person who's on camera doesn't get cued. That's friend of the podcast, Tim. He doesn't realise that Olly's there, so I had to step in at the last moment, and my momentum and shove knocked Olly almost completely sideways.
Yeah. And with my bad ankles, it was, it was quite a worry. I mean, I was quite surprised at the velocity of the shove.
And it looks, at this point, like there's going to be very few places for it in the final film. So that's already bringing my life score up to about an 8.5.
Right.
But yeah, very, very apologetic for that, Olly. I didn't mean that, really.
No. That's fine. Apology accepted.
So I'm looking for a new apartment. So it's a minor stress that I'm under at the moment. But, happy with where things are heading. Pretty happy with the time I've got to get a place. That'll be okay, I'm sure.
Are you more bothered about the room or the people? What's highest on the list? Room, people, space.
It's location.
Location.
Yeah. Should be absolutely fine.
Okay.
From a room and people point of view.
You'd hope so.
So that's good. I've got about a month to do that, so that's okay-ish. I just thought in a movie-related way, I'd bring up the fact that I've now invested in a brand new Alien Quadrilogy Blu-ray.
I mean,
But
how many times do you think you've bought the Alien series in your lifetime?
Only twice, and the first time I got them in the DVD Alien quadrilogy set. Stuck on Alien again recently to watch, and it skips because it's been played so many times. I think it's kind of damaged now. I've had it about 11 years, I think.
Yeah.
So it's had a good innings. Thought I'd move on up to the Blu-ray.
Does it skip on a certain scene that you've worn out at all, or?
Yeah, it's the pants bit at the end.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah, creep.
Yeah, it's actually mainly been that way since I lent them to you and I had to dig them out of your shed. Anyway, we'll move on.
Yeah.
At the same time as buying that, I saw Brett's cap, the Nostromo one that he's got, and I decided to buy myself a Nostromo cap. And I don't know why I thought it was a good idea, because now I've got it, it's evident that I'll never ever wear this. It's got like a Nostromo badge on the front of it.
Prop. Is it not very well made, or?
No, it's an official piece of like replica merchandise from Fox.
Okay.
It's quite high quality, but it's just.
Is it a bad fit? Do you feel like
it's a good fit? It's just it looks silly, doesn't it? It's got a big Nostromo badge on the front of it, and then these like wreaths on the brim. It just looks silly. Up close, I can see that now.
I mean, but this is coming from someone who has purchased replica wrestling belts in the past as well.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't wear those out either.
I was just about to say, I stand to this day that, every Saturday night when I get that out, there's nothing wrong with it. Talking about Saturday night, I've recently watched Saturday Night Fever and Staying Alive in a double bill. And It was quite the double bill. It was supposed to be related to this podcast, so the music for those films figuring into a list of best songs in films, but I've not got too much more to say about them other than the first one at least is much more harrowing than I expected it to be.
Right. Okay. Well, maybe we can go into that in the deep dive.
Okay, it's quite adult.
Gives a good harrow.
I'd say I'm an 8.5, Ollie. How are you doing?
I'm quite tired at the moment. I mean, I don't feel like I'm low energy at the moment. I think I'm quite high energy, if anything. But I think I'm probably like a 7.5. I've not been seeing much daylight at the moment.
So why is that? Get into that.
Just been really busy. Just been busy. Okay, let's leave it at that. But some good things I've been making. I'm working quite a lot, but it's fine. I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling satisfied. But I seem to
remember at some point in the past when I did quite a lot of work, you'd kind of talk to me about how you kind of found it amusing. Should I get into that, or no? We'll leave it.
Leave it.
But there's more to life than work, Ollie. Got to keep a healthy balance.
But I only do it in very short spurts.
Yeah, we know?
I don't let it go on for too long. I've been making homemade soup and taking it to work, so I've been saving myself quite a lot of money.
Okay.
That's good. That's a good thing that I've been doing. I've been playing Rocket League at lunchtime with some colleagues, and we had just yesterday 2 games on the trot where people rage quit against us. And rage quit is where you're thrashing someone so bad that they leave the game before it concludes, and that felt really good. I was beaming. I was smiling from ear to ear, as you can imagine.
Interesting. This LifeScore is probably the deepest insight into Ollie's life that people have gotten thus far.
Okay, so I mean, film and media related. I took the kids to see The Kid Who Would Be King.
Oh yeah.
They enjoyed it. I didn't love it. There was something about it I think I wanted it to be a bit funnier. I think I maybe found the kids a little bit underwritten and annoying. And I'm unsure why both of Joe Cornish's films start off with someone being bullied, and then you kind of at some point have to invest and get behind these bullies. And it was maybe a bit better than Attack the Block in that respect, but I still kind of feel it's a really hard into that world, into a film, is like some of the protagonists are, rotters. I find that a hard leap sometimes.
Yeah. Who am I supposed to support here?
Yeah, who am I supposed to support? But all in all, it's good. Kids loved it. Audience applauded at the end.
Really?
It definitely had its moments, but I was hoping it'd be better. Have you seen the Bohemian Rhapsody editing videos / memes?
No, I haven't.
Because I think it won an award for editing, and I've seen some clips from it. Oh boy. It takes like 8 different camera cuts for a record executive to enter the scene and pull out a chair and sit down. And it's just crazy. I don't know how the whole film is, but, just watching it, it's like, is this actually it? Is this how it was? Did you see it at home? Can you tell me?
Okay.
Did you see it?
I haven't seen it yet, no. It's kind of one thing after the other with that film, actually, because it's apparently now been released in China without any homosexual content, which is, yeah, it's problematic, really, isn't it?
Well, yeah,
money over
so,
over purpose, and then the other thing, of course, is just that the director, who was not referred to by any of the people who picked up awards at the Academy Awards, he's had some sort of sexual allegations.
Yeah, it's Bryan Singer.
Yeah. Seems to be making money hand over fist anyway, but it just kind of makes you think, like, what, the industry's not...
but he wasn't... He did leave the project.
Right, okay.
So he didn't wrap the project up. He left it some way in. So it's like he did obviously sort of, film quite a lot of it, but he did leave the project. I think it was maybe, is it Dexter Fletcher that finished the film?
Yeah.
Iain, I'm going to ask
you. You're correct.
Bohemian Rhapsody, I think it was Dexter Fletcher, and you're confirmed it is. But it's still actually, on Google, it still says the director's Bryan Singer.
Nightmare.
So that's, it's a real, we've opened up a real kettle of fish.
What's your life score?
And it's Bryan Singer on IMDb as well.
Jesus,
okay, 7.5. And probably a 6.5 now, found that out.
Okay, that's great. Let's keep the energy up and go into the Forex deep dive.
Did they swallow an encyclopedia?
All that data.
Wow, this really is a deep dive. I hope that information wasn't false.
Iain.
Yeah.
It's the deep dive. We're going into the docks on the bay, and we've spotted some sort of underwater vehicle. It's a submersible. It's small.
Uh-huh.
There's only really room enough for maybe one person. We open the lid.
And we're both getting in.
We're both getting in, but there's a certain aroma that's been left from the person before. And we set sail, and we start hearing Celine Dion coming from the speakers, so it can only be one person that was in there before, and that was James Cameron.
He loves a farty submersible.
He does.
I wonder at this point, Ollie, because we've not talked about the farty submersible since way back at the beginning.
Do you have to explain it again?
I don't think we should bother, but we should just say that this is a long-standing joke, and it wasn't really that funny in the first place.
But like, we did keep it going for the best part of a year, maybe more.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. And it's all just to play on the fact that this is a deep dive, and we're getting inside a submersible.
And I posed to Iain that at some point that when James Cameron goes on his little expeditions down to the bottom of the ocean, that he's gonna let off in there, and then when he resurfaces and the crew open the lid, that they're greeted with a lot of methane gas.
A sea of smell.
Yeah. But they all have to pretend. They all have to pretend. They've had to sign a contract that says that they have to keep a straight face when the lid opens. If anyone winces, if anyone's eyes water, then they get sacked immediately. And he's
sacked.
looking at all of them like to see if they notice.
Because he knows.
Yeah, he knows what he's been doing down there.
Okay, so Ollie, the first musical film in 1927, it says here, was The Jazz Singer, starring Al Jolson. And it introduced the sound era of motion pictures. It was followed by a series of musicals hastily made to capitalise on the novelty of sound. Is sound still a novelty to you?
Well, I mean, I think there's, certain kind of technologies are still trying to make it quite novel, but when it's done well, it can be novel, but like anything, sound and music in films is quite prone to being copied and, Are
you saying that sound in movies has outstayed its welcome?
I think we need to go back to, silent movies or smelly movies or something like that instead.
Okay. Songs, I've just got a description here. Songs are usually not considered part of the film's score, although songs do also form part of the film's soundtrack. Although some songs, especially in musicals, are based on thematic ideas from the score, or vice versa, scores usually do not have lyrics, except for when sung by choirs or soloists. Similarly,
like
songs,
The Omen, like The Omen.
That sort of business. Similarly, pop songs which are needle dropped. That's a phrase that in this quote is quoted in itself into a specific scene in a film for added emphasis are not considered part of the score. So we're talking about this sort of thing.
So would that be like in Baby Driver where they play a tune and it's just it's there for added emphasis?
Yeah.
Or like Quentin Tarantino where he plays a song in a scene.
Yes. So it's the difference between Eye of the Tiger in Rocky 3 and the Rocky that theme.
Yeah.
So that kind of difference. So let's get into it. You told me that you had some facts. I've got a top 5, but I want to hear some of these facts first.
Okay, so I've got some UK chart facts. So when I was younger, there was like a run
long ago.
So there was a run of time in the 90s where you would have like a lot of songs from films. I don't know why I'm talking like Christopher Walken all of a sudden, but there's a lot of songs from films that were entering the UK charts and staying at number 1 for quite some time. So I'm just gonna tell you what they say. In the 90s, this was 1990s. So, first off, for 10 weeks at number 1 was Whitney Houston for the film The Bodyguard, I Will Always Love You.
Yeah.
For 15 weeks, a whole 15 weeks this was in the charts, Love Is All Around by Wet, 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 Marty Pellow.
Wow.
15 weeks. Every week you're just listening to the charts going, you're getting closer to number 1 and it's like, it's still there.
And was that from 4 Weddings and a Funeral?
That's correct.
Okay. By the way, on the Bodyguard and Whitney Houston, she sold 42 million records. And there was a fact I heard in a YouTube video I was looking at for research where it said she was the first artist to ever sell 1 million tracks in 1 week. 1 million, okay. Not 1 million tracks, 1 million records.
Right.
Selling 1 million different tracks in a week, that'd be interesting.
So here's one. Kiss from a Rose
by Seal,
the artist Seal. It says here on the official charts that it. How many weeks do you think it spent at number 1?
6.
And it says here 0.
Okay.
It says no weeks.
Wasn't a number
the highest
one.
The highest it got was number 4 in the charts.
Okay.
I would have thought it would have been a number 1. But what was a number 1, and this is the longest one that I can find from a movie, was Everything I Do, that's in brackets, and then after the bracket says I Do It For You, and that's by Bryan Adams, and that spent 16 consecutive weeks at number one in the year 1991, which was for the film Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, starring Kevin Costner.
Wow.
There's a lot of fact there. I mean, I really dragged that fact out as well. So, I mean, that's the
Olly
equivalent
Johnson's fact.
it's the equivalent of putting like slow mo in a film because you need to stretch the time out.
Well, the funny thing is, I've actually got plenty of stuff to talk about.
Okay, well that's fine. Well, but anyway, there's my Olly's initial chart facts.
Fact drag.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to start my top 5, and we can just alternate. We can go back to yours and whatnot.
But can I just ask you one quick question? Because I know you like questions. What film would it be inappropriate to have a chart topper for?
I don't think it is. I mean, maybe a documentary of some kind.
Silence of the Lambs I've got here. Like a Silence of the Lambs theme tune in the style of like a Shirley Bassey-esque Bond song where she really belts out the title of the film.
I don't think so. I think you just wanted to say that.
I mean, I did, Ian, I did want to say that because I did write it down. So I definitely, you are correct. So you don't get a point for it, but you are correct.
I don't know. I think like any given film is going to have a song attached to it that's appropriate to the theme in most cases. And if that song's catchy enough that people want to hear it, or not even catchy enough, but maybe emotional enough, like you might say, should there really be a chart topper attached to the story of like loads of people dying in a ship that sank? Probably not, but it was a story of true love between two people, and Celine Dion smashed it.
Okay, you've proved a point. I mean,
it's all context, isn't it?
Move on with your bit.
Number 5 for me is Randy Newman and You Got a Friend in Me from the original Toy Story, and then subsequently all the rest of them.
So this is the best ones, is it?
No, this is my number. It's in at number 5 for me. I'm going to build up to my number 1.
And we're going towards a number 1. Okay.
Did you ever listen to like Dr. Fox or like the Radio 1 hit parade show?
Yeah, I definitely did. Yeah.
Because they would spend the best part of a Sunday evening building all their way up to what number 1 was. So that's what we're going to do.
Always Bryan Adams.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Bryan Adams,
wasn't Bryan Adams.
Yeah. Anyway, number 4.
So I think this one's mainly because it's a kind of childhood memory, isn't it?
It's a kind of magic.
No, that's by Queen. But
From the Highlander.
Oh, was it in the Highlander? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Part 1 or part 2?
Part 1. So was Who Wants to Live Forever? Oh,
yeah. I've watched the video to that. It's quite good.
It's good. It's really good.
I don't know if I really need to explain too much about why the You've Got a Friend in Me is good. It won an Academy Award for Best soundtrack song, I think. What do you think to it? Are you a fan?
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm a fan. I wouldn't go and see it live, but, yeah, it's fine.
I think a lot of his other material is very similar.
Yeah.
Great voice, unique voice. Shall we move on? What's one of your top? I don't know if you've ranked them in priority order.
I haven't. No, I haven't done that.
Okay, well, just tell us one of your favourite songs from a film.
That would be Body Counts in the House by Body Count for the film Universal Soldier. I've got the lyrics here if you need them.
Save them for later, but tell us why. I know you've already told us why you like it.
And also like the song The Silence of the Lambs by Shirley Bassey.
Yeah, that is one of her better songs.
That is really good. Okay.
Okay, 5 stars.
Yeah.
Do you have another one to cover? What would you like to cover?
You don't want to go for number 4. I'm invested in the list now. I'm so
Okay, he's invested in the list. Okay, I thought we were going to alternate, but here's my number 4.
Investy list.
It's Eye of the Tiger by Survivor from Rocky 3.
I like that, but I prefer Burning Heart.
Okay, why is that? Because you're
The lyrics. It's the lyrics.
a hipster.
It's East versus West. I mean, they're basically sort of describing the film in the song, and it's just so like that. I think I just want to. I want to be a fly on the wall in the lyrics writing session for that. You know, where they've got the script and well, we really need to. Yeah, we've got to do another song, and it's East versus West. Let's just put that in East versus West. I would like to know why they wrote it that way.
Okay.
And there's a load of other good. There's Hearts on Fire in that one as well.
It's a
Easy
better
Way Out.
overall. It's a better overall soundtrack.
Yeah,
And I probably know the lyrics to that stuff better than I know any of the other stuff that was in Rocky 3. But I'm still going to stick with Eye of the Tiger because individually,
it's good.
It's the more well known and overall sort of iconic song. Like it, you don't get lads down the gym having a listen to the Rocky 4 soundtrack tracks, do you?
No, not.
But
really.
Eye of the Tiger is one.
And
that
I
kinda,
really quite like the. I really like the little in Eye of the Tiger, the little sort of offbeat that catches you off guard in the riff when you listen to it next.
Can you do that for us in verbal form?
So it kind of skips a beat. I like that. I always think, oh, that's good. That's nice.
Oh, that's good. Ollie, do you think that we're going to be legally allowed to include samples of these songs?
I mean, I could probably play it.
Yeah, just tiny clips. Just tiny clips.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, here's my number 3.
So I can give you one. I'm going to give you another one that I like.
Okay.
It's in no in particular order, but I like I Still Believe by Tim Capello from the soundtrack of The Lost Boys. This is the guy, the very oily / sweaty guy with the saxophone.
Okay, I'm less familiar with
like
this
that.
than I probably should be.
Okay.
I'm going to have to listen back to the podcast to actually know what that track is.
Okay.
So what is it you like about it?
It's a great song. Actually, The Lost Boys is one of my favourite soundtracks. It's got a whole load of bangers. I just think it's really, the soundtrack almost makes the film. They use a lot of music throughout. It's got so many good tracks in it, and it's just one of those films that's really, you can't separate it from the soundtrack. They use the music brilliantly. I had that on tape. I probably worn the tape out. I've had it on CD, and now I've got it on Spotify, and you probably can't wear that out.
He's worn out his Spotify.
The digital. I've worn out the digital bits.
So, your digital bits. Okay, number 3 for me is The End by The Doors at the beginning of Apocalypse Now.
Okay.
So, I remember actually watching this in film studies and having an English teacher go, "Oh, you need to watch how amazing this is. It's really amazing." And kind of not taking to it massively at the time, but on a couple of rewatches, it's very effective, and I think it matches extremely well with like the tone of the film and also the timing of the film. So like the music matches well with the time period that the film's set in, and the story goes actually that the whole intro was kind of a part happy accident sort of scenario where Francis Ford Coppola was saying, "I need some kind of intro." And then there was lots of like rolls of footage, and they just pulled out this roll that had basically the canopy of palm trees that go up in flames at the start. And they started talking about, well, maybe we can just start in a big explosion. And then somebody was talking about the Doors song within earshot. and then suddenly it turned into this big joke of why don't we start with the end, and then it became clear that it whoa, mad, isn't it? But then actually it became obvious why that was so appropriate, because it was such like a hellhole that they were going into and stuff, that it was actually an appropriate song. And when Jim Morrison starts going a bit mad, it kind of mimics a bit more of like what the main character and his journey into kind of descent into madness is like as well. So it's all ties up quite nicely, but it sounds like apparently it was just a bit of an accident, wasn't it?
Okay.
So it's pretty cool. Do you want my number 2?
Yeah, go on then.
It was appropriate that my number 3 was a wanky one.
Okay. What do you mean by a wanky one?
Well, it had sort of proper film analysis involved, as opposed to.
Okay, yeah.
And you know what a number 3 is?
Yeah. Ah, yes. Yeah.
Okay, catch up. Anyway, here's my number 2. It's not a shit one though. It's the better use of Queen's music in a film. It's Bohemian Rhapsody in Wayne's World.
Yeah, and I think and I actually think that there's a couple of songs that are hard to sort of separate from the movie, and 2 of those would be Eye the Tiger. So that's just basically so heavily linked with Rocky that it's almost impossible to listen to that song and not think about Rocky. It's just, I can't think of that many songs that are just so linked to a film. And the other one is Wayne's World, because when the the riff bit in the middle happens, there's countless sketches and other performances where that scene is, it's almost the Wayne's World scene where they're all headbanging in the car is just absolutely smashed together with the song. So it's hard to separate the two. So those 2 songs are just very much, have sort of fed off each other, I suppose I'm trying to say.
They're intrinsically linked.
Iain, that was what I was trying to say.
You've done the job of explaining my number 2.
Okay.
So that's my number 2 explained. Let's go on to my number 1.
Is it the song?
Can you guess what it is?
Yeah, Iain. This is the song Shocker, performed by the Dudes of Wrath for the Wes Craven movie Shocker, written by Paul Stanley as one of the people, and Vivian Campbell, with Tommy Lee on drums. Is that
no? Sorry, you're wrong. No points.
It's probably the number 1 then. It's probably number 1. But
I'm on number 1.
Sorry, I'm sorry for ruining your number 1. But yeah, carry on. What's your number 2?
What?
What's your number 2?
I just did my number 2. That was Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, what's your number 1?
Fucking hell! You better edit the life out of this.
I'll edit that one. I'll edit this last 10 seconds. Jesus Christ.
Jesus. I asked you if you could guess what my number 1 was. Oh my god, he's taking another call. Fuck.
No, someone keeps trying to call me. I can't help that, can I?
Well, I don't know why it cuts out the currently ongoing call.
Iain, I don't know either. It's a new phone. I've not figured this out yet. Right. All this is getting cut. I'm going to ask you one more time. So, Iain, what's your number 1?
My number 1, Ollie, I think you can guess. I want you to try and guess what my number 1 would be.
You Got Me Burning by the Triangles, and the film is The Terminator, and it's the scene from Tech Noir. Is that the one?
It's correct. He's got all 3 points. Good job.
Yeah. No, it's brilliant. It's a great scene. We're both big fans of that scene.
So if you haven't already and you've not listened to the podcast until now, go on YouTube and look up the Tech Noir scene from The Terminator and just listen to the music and enjoy it. It features the song, as Ollie said, You Got Me Burning by the Triangles. the Triangles are not a band that I think anybody else is that familiar with. So I did a little bit of research, and I'd like to enlighten you and our listeners. So Tani Kane and the Triangles, or Taney Kane, landed a record deal in 1982 and released a self-titled, using her married name, Tani Kane, album on RCA Records. A Billboard review of the album described her as an artist to watch and remarked that she looks incredibly beautiful on the LP cover. Then you put it on and you realise that she can sing as well. Thankfully, music reviews have taken a slight upward turn since back then.
So I mean, it was more of a critique of her looks rather than her talent.
Exactly. So AllMusic's Alex Henderson wrote that the material, most of it sleek, commercial, pop/rock, is generally excellent. The album's first single...
I don't believe that this they're on Spotify either, or any streaming services, because I've not been able to find it.
No, the only thing you can really do is either put the Terminator on or put clips of the Terminator on YouTube. So after the first single from the album failed to chart, her second single, Holding On, peaked at number 37. The album did not sell as well as the label had hoped. She did, however, contribute 3 songs to the soundtrack for The Terminator in 1984. She also recorded demos for a second album, which were eventually leaked several years later, but didn't turn into much. So the final sort of part here is that she actually went into movies and played Reese Witherspoon's mum in Legally Blonde 1 and 2, and has been in a number of other sexploitation films.
Ian, a question for you. Close your eyes.
Yep.
Can you confirm that your eyes are closed?
No. Yes, sorry, they are.
Okay. Can you spell the Triangles in the way that the band spells it?
Yeah, I've actually written it down twice today that way. So it's T-R-I...
Okay, well, just try.
T-R-I-A-N-G-L-Y-Z.
It's actually T-R-Y-A-N-G-L-Z.
Says who?
Says YouTube. Says Discogs. Says James Cameron. So
okay, well, I mean,
I've got a funny misheard lyric here. So I was getting a lift to work by Mandy, and on the radio they were playing The Greatest Showman, a song from The Greatest Showman called, I think it was The Greatest Show, and one of the lyrics says, and you're gonna have to go and have a listen to this. It says, "And buried in your bones, there's an ache that you can't ignore." But I've heard this countless times now, and it sounds like there's an egg that you can't ignore.
Very good.
Which gave me an idea for a little sketch I could do. But yeah, it sounds like it's an egg you can't ignore.
Yeah. So, I wonder what that sketch is going to be like.
Right now. Well, it'd be somebody watching the film, and then he hears the lyric, "Egg you can't ignore," and then he just says, "Oh, what? An egg you can't ignore?" And then an egg, just from in the background, it's like, "Oi, mate," and then like loads of different scenes of like him trying to go to sleep or go to the toilet, while the egg's just like, "Oi, mate, oi, mate," egg you can't ignore.
What are some of your other songs that you like from films?
So I mean, just to confirm, you're shitting that one in the bin.
That sketch.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay. So a couple of things.
But Olly,
all
this stuff about Tani Kane's career, and you didn't even mention the sexploitation films until now.
One of the first tapes that I ever bought was the soundtrack to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that was the very first. With I requested it, and in fact, my mum bought me. I think it was like Now That's What I Call Music 15 or something, because it's like 1990.
Okay.
And I was like, I don't want it. I don't want it. What I actually wanted was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle soundtrack. So she actually went back and got it for me. And that makes me sound like I'm a little bit like Cartman in South Park, But man. So I actually found a couple of reviews on Amazon of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle soundtrack. One of them just said, "It's a good buy." This is a 5-star review. "I bought this CD for a friend of mine who couldn't remember the theme song from the movie. Was funny watching his face when he remembered the song." I mean, I don't know if I'd buy a CD on the strength of his experience there.
Yeah, I'm buying you the CD so I can have a mild laugh at how you react to it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't sound like a 5-star experience to me. It sounds more like a 3. But another person who's had a 5-star experience with this album, he says, "It's a great film." I mean, he doesn't review the soundtrack. And then another person says, "There are 10 tracks on this album," and I'm not going to go through all 10, but he actually reviews all 10 tracks and gives them all individually a score out of 5. I'm just going to read you 2 of them. So, Turtle Power, Partners in Crimes. This is the one I gave you the lyrics for. Closing credits, which blew my mind as it blasted from the speakers that night. Sounds like a very important night. It still has the same effect whenever the movie finishes. Sounds like he watches this movie far too much. And then another one that he gave 2 out of 5. So he gave that one 5 out of 5. So a 2 out of 5 one is "This Is What We Do" by MC Hammer. And he says, "Remember him? No." Well, he was a very popular man in the 1990s. But I think he works in a Carphone warehouse now or something. It's a pretty lame track.
He's actually an evangelist, I think.
He says it's a pretty lame track, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. So there you go. That's one. And the first single on tape that I ever bought was Guns N' Roses' "You Could Be Mine," Iain, from the movie
Terminator 2.
Judgment Day.
I actually just call it Judgment Day.
I actually just call it JD.
T2JD.
In the industry, we actually just call it Day.
Did you work on Day? Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Notable mentions from me, Ollie. Berlin, Take My Breath Away, Top Gun.
Okay.
I'd say the best of the 3 tracks on that album.
Okay.
Big Country.
Can you name 2 of the tracks on that album?
Yeah, Highway to the Danger Zone by Kenny Loggins.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, you're right. I don't know what the name of the Van Halen one is. Is it called like Air Carrier or some shit like that?
Yeah, probably.
That one. The Best Around by Joe Esposito on Karate Kid.
Karate Kid, yeah, that's a good one. Push It to the Limit.
Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News and Back to the Future. Yeah. Maniac from Flashdance.
Okay, yeah, that's a good one.
And one other one that's a little bit of the wanky film sort of side of things, but from Moon, Chesney Hawkes being played every morning on the radio, and The One and Only, which is obviously like a...
It's very
it's a really funny play on the fact that he's a clown.
Yeah, actually, it's actually the only person on the space station.
Yeah, but actually, like, there's loads of him, so he's not the only. And here's top 5 worst. I don't know if you want to contribute.
Okay. No, can you just rattle through these ones?
Okay. Wild Wild West by Will Smith. Whilst Men in Black was excellent, that's exactly why Wild Wild West was terrible, because it was such an obvious cash-in. That's why I hate it.
Okay.
Don't Want to Miss a Thing, I think, is the best and the worst. Is that okay?
Yeah.
It's one of the best and the worst. Anything on the Queen of the Damned soundtrack, which included stuff like Korn.
Static X.
Yeah. And here are the ones that you're going to go, oh, here we go. But it is to do with the feel, and it is to do with whether or not they resonate with you. So I think the songs in Baby Driver and like things like Happy on Despicable Me 2
Yeah.
feel far too much like they're a sort of intentional contrivance rather than something that just like fits the film quite well. They're maybe
Sure.
I think Baby Driver is the controversial one from your point of view, because I feel like you like it, and I feel like a lot of other people think it's done well. I do like syncopated cut to the music editing for action scenes and stuff like that. I just felt like it was too well thought through and all like very like worthy and that sort of thing. Is that terrible to say?
Correct.
Okay,
You've scored
great.
a point. Yeah.
Do you have any closing remarks on this topic, Ollie?
Yeah, so I've got a couple. So there's a few soundtracks that I just wanted to bring up. One was Trick or Treat from 1986. That was a horror film. There was a lot of horror films and some like pretty cool soundtracks, and they all kind of lent quite hard on the sort of hair metal / heavy metal stylings. And this one you'd like because a lot of the music was performed by a band called Fastway, which was written by Fast Eddie Clarke from Motorhead.
Yeah.
So he wrote a lot of the music on that soundtrack in a band called Fastway.
Yeah. He played with Fastway for a long time after.
So there was a film, I've said this before, Shocker, and that had the old Megadeth, Iggy Pop, and the aforementioned Dudes of Wrath. There was Judgment Night, the hip hop / heavy metal crossover album that was pretty successful when I was. You can't actually find a review on Amazon of the Judgment Night soundtrack below 4 stars.
Wow.
Okay.
So it's actually pretty good. It's not too bad. And then they followed it up with a similar idea for the movie Spawn, where they kind of crossed heavy metal acts with more like dance or electronic acts. So you had like Atari Teenage Riot and Slayer, for example.
Okay.
Orbital, Metallica, etc., etc. So it was a pretty good idea for a soundtrack, I thought. You had the soundtrack for the movie Gummo, which mixed a lot of genres, including stuff like black metal band Burzum on the soundtrack, which is pretty controversial, especially as it's on the same playlist as stuff like Madonna and Buddy Holly.
Okay.
So that's quite an interesting one. Obviously, Wayne's World, big one, and one of friend of the podcast, Peter's favourite soundtracks, the Mission Impossible 2 soundtrack.
Yeah, featuring Limp Bizkit and Metallica.
Yeah. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff there, and I think that's all I've got to say. But I don't think we really get the big film singles that we used to get. I think those days are potentially gone.
I think the most recent one that was like that, which I like, is Skyfall by Adele.
Okay.
It did really well as a single, I think, as well as just being attached to a successful film. I don't know if it was the same sort of like months and months in the charts sort of scenario, but at least the album that song went with, if her success otherwise is anything to go by, that album did very well. So it was pretty big, and I think it fit the movie really well.
I think that's it. I've got a little quiz I want to try out on you just to end the podcast with. You're gonna come round to it. It's only gonna take 5 seconds. It's a quick fire quiz.
Okay.
And we're gonna at least do it on 3 episodes. Okay. So I'm going to give you the first name of an actor or actress, and you're going to tell me, which one I've got written down. And we're going to see how many you manage to guess.
Okay.
Are you ready? And it's just got to be the first one that comes to your head.
Okay.
Peter.
Jackson.
Cushion.
Is it
Danny. Hey, stop. Danny.
DeVito.
Correct. Robert.
De Niro.
Incorrect. England. Mel.
Gibson.
Correct. Kevin.
Costner.
Hart.
Oh,
So you
come on.
So you got 2 out of 5. So let's see. Did you like that quiz?
It was good, yeah. I started to get it.
It's better than. So was it actually better than the big long
Second
quiz
one.
at the start?
I tell you what, if length was the drawback of the first one, that one's definitely pulled it back for you.
Okay.
If you like the podcast, then you can go and like and subscribe everything about us on various different things, like facebook.com/guysonfilm. You can go to our website, guysonfilm.co.uk, and check out all the stuff that we've got on our social media through that, and some funny videos we've made. And you can email us at guysonfilmpodcast@gmail.com if you want the personal connection.
I'm just laughing at how you tried to talk during that quiz, even though I said it needed to be quick fire. You still were trying to interject. So
It's like because you were.
it was like a whirlwind, and you were just caught in it.
Yeah, I wasn't quite sure exactly
got
how
questions.
the first one had gone. And after, I was like, is that right or wrong? And then you paused too long before the second one. And I was like, oh, okay. And then we were off.
Going. And then we're off, but now we know.
Now I'm intrigued as to why we're doing that on a very specific number of test attempts, which you said we're doing it at least on 3 podcasts.
Oh, just because I want to see if the segment works.
Okay.
just want you
The
to
last
give it
thing
at
I
least.
haven't plugged is our Instagram and Twitter, which is at GOF Podcast. Get in touch, guys. Okay, great.
Bye.
Bye.